Financial Freeway. My name is David Jatwood. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans. And today I thought I'd get back a little bit more on track with what Financial Freeway was all about in the beginning. I know lately I've been talking a lot about business and how to do side hustling and all that stuff. But let's break it down to what we're all here for. And my whole goal with this, when I started this, was to just show people that it is possible. I just spent a couple hours with a few people that continually bang the drum how it's impossible for young people to get ahead today. And they say, yeah, our kids don't have a chance. And I really, really, really hate that that mentality. And I started thinking about it. I know a couple of episodes ago, I was talking about how we got to be careful what we tell our children or anyone that we're mentoring, because what we tell them can dig into their psyche and become part of how they actually feel about things. And I likened it to saying, hey, on your way to school, everyone you meet is going to try and beat you up. That's a horrible thing to say. But on the flip side, it's also very important to temper the positivity with, don't say everyone loves you, because, hopefully everybody does. But the reality is that there are some people in the world that are going to take advantage of you. And there are people who are going to hurt your feelings and say mean things to you. And there's some people who will do it for sport. It is true. But I think it's important to really temper that message and keep it guarded. How do I say this? It's important to give our kids a realistic view of what the world is all about. And part of that is making sure that they know that, yes, it's not going to be easy. Life is full of challenges and we have to be prepared for it. If you're not prepared for it, and I've witnessed this. I've witnessed so many times where people get out there into the world and they haven't had their heart broken. They haven't had someone be mean to them. They haven't had to work. They haven't had a boss yell at them or someone in authority yell at them. And then they fall apart when it happens. So it's important to get people tempered and calloused and prepared, have those muscles ready for when they do strike out on their own. But it has to be, balanced. It has to be with love and positivity. There has to be, look, you got to give hope. That's the one thing you cannot take away from children and from people you're mentoring. If you take away someone's hope, then they're not going to try. And if they don't try, then it'll be a self-sabotaging belief system where, oh, there's no chance. My parents said there's no chance I'm going to get a house, so I'm not ever going to try and get a house. So I'm eliminating myself before I even start. I'm taking myself out of that market. So this is why when I hear people say there's no chance for kids today, it's like there is. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Nobody wants to hear that. Everyone wants to say, they want to hear that it is easy. There's no issues. It's super easy to get all this stuff. It's like it's not easy, but it is simple. And that's the trick. That's the important thing to remember here. So on that note, let's go back to the beginning of this whole thing, was me encouraging people to buy real estate, buy their own homes. I like the idea of buying your own home. There's a lot of people out there right now on social media, and I see it all the time because I subscribe to these people, smart people who are advising people against buying real estate and saying how real estate is a loser's game and all kinds of other things. Ooh, does he know a secret path? Oh, I'm going to follow him next time. When I have some more time, I'm going to try that other route. But we're good right now where we're at, so I'm good. So the way to get into a house in this market is to leverage money. So let's be fair and simple about that. In order to get wealthy, you're going to have to leverage. You're not going to be able to save your way to your retirement. You're just not. So what you have to do is you have to invest, you have to work, and you have to leverage. Very, very smart ideas. Now, if you buy, I was doing the math today. Right now, over the last 20 years, houses in my area, and I'm going to use my area as an example, not any other market because I don't know other markets, but in my area, houses have gone up on average over the last 20 years, 7% a year. Now, there's been some years where there was a bit of a negative in the average house price, closing price, I should say. And there's been some where the average closing price was upwards of 20 plus percent. Like there was 21%. I think there's even one year where it was like 31%. So it's all over the place with that stuff, with the pricing. But I averaged it out over the last 20 years to be 7%. So I thought, let's just use 10% just to make the math easy. I'm sorry, look, if you hear me slurring my words a little bit, it's because I bit my tongue last night and my tongue's acting kind of funny. Bit it right at the back and my God, does it hurt? And it's not just that, it keeps rubbing against my teeth, making me, giving me a drunken slur sounding accent. So yeah, don't do that. I bit the back of my tongue while I was eating dinner. Oh, so painful. So, if you're buying a house, and the reason I bring this up is because if you're trying to save for a house right now in Victoria, a house right now is $1 million. Average price for a house is $1 million. So in order for you to have the bare minimum down payment, and this does not talk even about the qualifying for the mortgage through the bank, it's just the minimum down payment as required by the Canadian government. You need 5% down for the first $500,000, that's $25,000, and 10% down for the remaining, that's up to $1 million, which is another $500,000. So that would be $50,000. So your minimum down payment would be $75,000. If you're making 50 grand a year, like just say you're making 50 grand a year, you would have to save up for, what did I figure out, 25 years to get the down payment. That's impossible. So you're going to have to do things a little differently. You're going to have to double down. That's with a 10% savings plan. Do the 20%, but you also want to invest that money, which is really important. That's what's going to have to help you. Plus, if you're doing it with a partner, now you're going to get $20,000 a year. Now it's only going to take you, if you have you're teaming up with a partner. And look, I know people say, back in the 70s, a man could do it on his own, one man, one income. Great. You got to live in the world of reality. You can't live in the world you want to live in. You got to live in the world you actually live in. So the reality is yes, it's going to take two incomes. But if you both do it, you both put 20% away. And I'm saying 20%. And I remember I was talking to this guy. It was happening this a few hours ago. I was talking to a guy at the office, and he said, we weren't able to do it. And I didn't want to throw it in his face because he was getting a little red in the face when I was talking. And people do get this way when I start talking about money. They get a little bit defensive about their situation. But I said, you also went on vacation every year. You also bought a brand new car every year. Not a brand new car, but a car they had to get a loan for. And they utilized credit card debt, and the wife only worked part-time. So these are things, when I bring them up, it's like, you know what? If you did these extra little things, you could actually do these things. You could save up and get the what am I doing here? And I'm going to stop here because it is what it is. So you could, and if you have two people doing 20% a year, you could have it in 3 years instead of 25 years. So, that's the difference. That's what it makes. Plus, on top of that, if you're indexing, if you're putting it into an index fund and putting it through an RSP, so you get the tax benefit as well for a first-time homeowner plan, which we have in Canada, where you can use your RSP tax-free for a down payment on a house. There are some really great advantages. If you were to do all of this, you could do it in 3 years, possibly even less than that. Get that down payment together. Now, let's go another step further. I've talked to my daughters about this, and I've said many times, if you really want to get into the real estate market, you can. You might not be able to get into the real estate market in downtown Toronto. or Wasaga Beach, or Montreal, or Trois-Rivières, or Vancouver, or Victoria. Definitely not Victoria. You might not be able to get there, but you know where you can get into the market? Halifax. And you can get into the market in Calgary. And I just looked up today, I looked up the average single detached house, 3-bedroom house, average, this is the average, not the lowest, the average is $500,000 in Edmonton. You go to Edmonton, you pick up yourself a $500,000 house, you live in it for 5 years, you make it your home. You use the equity that you have in there, you rent it out, now that comes out as income. You leverage that to buy a house on Vancouver Island. You may not be able to buy the house in downtown Victoria. You may not be able to buy it in Saanich or Sydney. You might have to go to Langford, or even Cobble Hill. You might have to go outside the city. I'm talking the local area here. If you Google it, you'll figure it out. But you might not be able to be in the heart of the city you want. You might have to go to the suburbs. You might have to go to the outlying communities and have to commute to work. These are the things that you have to do. This is where I get frustrated with people, and this is where I start talking about things about there is a reality. It's what do you want to do? Do you want to YOLO? You know, you wanna just have fun for the moment, and you the FOMO and the YOLO. You want to make sure that you're just squeezing the life out of every single day. That's fine, but there's a price to pay on the back end. Or do you want to get into the real estate market? I knew a guy who wanted a Lamborghini. That's it. He said he wanted a Lamborghini. He wasn't stopping till he got a Lamborghini. Every day he got up, it was, I'm getting a Lamborghini. It was just, that was his mindset. All the time, I'm getting a Lamborghini. And he just kept that going in his brain, I'm getting a Lamborghini. And you know what? That was what happened. It happens. He got his Lamborghini. And it wasn't by luck. It was because he got up with intention and he said to himself, this is what I want and this is what I'm doing. And this is all his focus and energy went to getting that Lamborghini. Now, this same guy, still, driving nice cars, he puts on, it was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. You can look this up. He does the biggest Nerf fight in, I don't know if it's Houston or Dallas. I think it's Houston. I may be wrong. Houston or Dallas. Jared. He, that mindset, that willingness to push through is what is needed to get to where you want to go with your goals. Now, back to what I would like to really dive in a little deeper on is how do we get to that 20%? It's a really tough call there, right? So on an average person, if you own a home and you're moving in a direction to pay off your bills and get debt free and move forward, the one thing that comes up time and time again is living beneath your means. Life inflation will destroy any sort of goals you have. If you get a raise and you go ahead and upgrade your car or upgrade your watch or do something where you start paying more for something, it's like, well, I can because I have the extra money. No, that's lifestyle inflation. What you want to do is when you get a raise, start throwing that extra money onto your debt, onto your bills, start plugging away at that. Or if you're not there yet, you don't have your house yet, start throwing it towards your savings. Start throwing it towards that RSP. And if you max out your 18% on your RSP, throw it into the TSFA. You have to be focused about this if this is what you want. It's possible. Now, again, you want to, so you're going to move out of Victoria, you're going to move out of Vancouver, the Lower Mainland, you're going to move to a town like Princeton or Prince George, a little bigger than Princeton, or Edmonton or Calgary. Great cities, lots of amenities. They're real cities with real nightlife and a real life. You go there, but because of things like the winter, it's a little bit colder. So you get the house there, and that's where you get into the market. You buy yourself a place for $500,000. Now, right now, so think about this. If you're making 50 grand a year, which is not an unheard of, it's 25 bucks an hour. That's not a crazy amount of money. You could be working at a retail job or a service job making 25 bucks an hour or 50 grand a year pretty comfortably. It's not out of the norm for someone who doesn't have a degree or is unskilled labor to make that kind of money. Now, at 25 grand, all you need now is 50 grand for that down payment of, $25,000 for that down payment in your house in Edmonton. And here's the flip side, is you can actually qualify for the mortgage with that small of a down payment. So you team up with somebody, you get a partner, and you two chunk down and you get that 25 grand saved. If you really devote yourself to it, you can do it. Here's what you do. Take your paycheck, all the money you bring in, half of it, 50% of it, it goes to your living expenses, your necessities. That's food, rent, and bills. And bills, I mean the necessity bills, like the you got to pay for a cell phone, you got to pay for phone, you got to pay for power, you got to pay for gas in the car. Those are the necessities, and rent, of course. 50% is for that. 30% is for the wants. That's for the new TV. That's for the cool phone plan you have. Those are the wants. But again, only 30% is allowed to go there, and then 10% is going to go to your savings account, to your RSP, to your first-time homeowners plan. This is the really important stuff when it comes to getting to that next level. If you want to get to this level, do not think it's impossible. So now what I'm saying is, if you really want to fast track this, you want to do 20% and take that necessity thing down to, like, really down a little bit, really cut into it a little bit more. Sorry, not the necessity, the wants. So this is where you go with the bare minimum phone plan, the no data. You're running from Wi-Fi hotspot to Wi-Fi hotspot. You're biking to work as much as you can. You're never doing skip the dishes or DoorDash. You're actually going. You know what you're also doing? You're shopping bulk. You're cooking your own food. You're making your own lunches. You are making your own coffee before you go to work. And if you're at an office and you want extra coffee, go and buy yourself a $20 coffee machine, tuck it away in some corner, and make your own coffee at work. Trust me, these little things add up. I just bought a coffee the other day from where I work, and it was $5. If you're doing $5 a day, $5 a day, and you're working for on average 200 days a year, so do the math. It comes up. That's a lot of flipping money that goes to pay someone else for coffee. You're not going to spend that much coffee if you buy your own grounds and you buy your own machine and you make it yourself. Trust me. So do these little sacrifices. And what I'm telling everyone, 2 years. It doesn't take a lifetime. It's 2 years. And those 2 years, they're going to go by whether you save or not. And I trust me when I say this. When you decide, you know what, let's take a little bit of money and let's go to Cancun, let's go to South Beach, let's go to Puerto Vallarta. Let's YOLO. We only live once. Let's just do it. You do that, and you will kick yourself back. Not just weeks. It'll be months, possibly years. And when you look at the long-term ramifications of these little decisions now, they extrapolate into these huge Richter scale proportions, exponentially having an effect on your retirement. This is where I say, look. Again, it's not your fault you're where you're at right now. I'm almost 100, I'm 95% sure that if you're in a bad financial situation, it's not your fault. You got bad info. Your parents didn't help you out. You didn't slip on a banana peel and fall into a big sack of cash. You didn't win the lottery, and you didn't have a rich uncle die and leave you everything. I get it. You know what? And you couldn't afford an education. You had kids too young, whatever the case is. I understand. But what I'm trying to say is even if you're not in this situation of your own accord, you have to take responsibility and get yourself out of it. And you can do it. Now, following up, you get that 25 grand saved. If you're making 50 grand a year and you're putting 20 grand, 20% down, and there's two of you, and you put it into a fund that makes money, like you put it into an RSP, and through the RSP, through your investment app that you have on your investment app, that you have on your phone, you actually invest through your RSP into a variety of indexed exchange traded funds, ETFs, that'll bring in about, say on average, let's keep the numbers down a little bit, let's say 10%. That 10% is going to really help out. Plus, it grows tax-free while it's in the RSP. And then when you pull it out to pay for your first house, the down payment for the house, you are given I think it is 15 years to pay that back tax-free without penalty. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. So, okay, back to this house that you bought in Edmonton for 500 grand. You buy it. You buy a house that needs fixing up so you can put some sweat equity into it. This is where you really make your money. Go in there, learn how to fix it with ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, what's the other one now? DeepSeek, all these other things like that. You can teach yourself how to fix the house that needs fixing. Yes, pull in, of course, licensed contractors to do stuff and get the permitting done and all that stuff. Do it right. But go in there, get a fixer-upper, put a suite in that house. Put a suite in it, and you Airbnb that house as much as you goddamn well can until the city or the province shuts you down. The nice thing about Alberta, it's the Wild West out there. You can do what you want. I love it. BC is clamping down hard on all that stuff. But if you Airbnb a suite, a 2-bedroom suite downstairs, check this out. This is crazy. Right now, a two-bedroom, let's just keep the math simple, right? It's, I would say, $200 a night. You probably do a lot more, but in Edmonton, not a lot of people are going to Edmonton for vacationing. They're going there for education. They're going there for soldier school. They might go there for work. But you Airbnb this place out for $200 a night. And so $200 a night, that's $6,000 a month. Let's split that in half. That's $3,000 a month. That $3,000 a month is now, you sock that $3,000 a month into another account, or you pay down your mortgage as much as you can with that $3,000 a month. Now you're really moving. You're really moving. So the place is only rented half the time, Airbnb. And of course, if you have to rent it full time, if they change the laws or the rules, you can do that. But that $3,000 a month, now you're living mortgage free. Think about that. That income is now considered part of your income. You're paying taxes on it, so it's part of the income. But now you're paying back your RSP, you're paying your taxes, you're living mortgage free. Life is good. Now you are really a mover and a shaker. And that's the reality of it. That's how easy it can be. I can do the math, and one of these days I will actually do the math on an Excel spreadsheet for you. In fact, I think I'll do it this weekend. I'll sit down and make a video with this. I'll capture my screen as I'm going through the Excel, and we'll do it. I'll show you how it is, and then what I'll do is I'll give you all a link to the Excel spreadsheet so you can have fun with it, play with it, and put your own numbers in there and see what you can do. But now, okay, 5 years down the road, let's kick it down 5 years down the road. That $500,000 house is now worth $750,000, and it's paying for itself. You take the equity out of that. Now you've got your you have your $250,000 plus the original $25,000. You have $275,000. Now you can really do some damage. Now you can buy another house in Victoria and you can rent out that whole house. Put long-term tenants up top, Airbnb on the bottom, and now you're making $6,000 a month on that place. It's paying for that place and your place in Victoria. $6,000 a month, it's making you money like crazy. Now you're back in Victoria and you got yourself a place to live. Again, you may have to do the same thing. You may have to buy a fixer-upper and throw a suite in there, but you're in the game. That's the important part. It is real. Remember, 50, 30, 20. That's where you want to be. 50% for necessities, 30% for wants, 20% for saving. Get it done. Get it done. And if you, like I said, if you could squeeze a little bit more of the savings in there, all the better. It's possible. I believe in you. I believe it's a system that can actually work. I will run the numbers through my computer for the weekend. I'll do a video screen. I'll even put in taxes, EI, CPP, all the other things. And I'll leave it so if you're an American and you're watching this, you can put your own deductions into your paycheck and figure out what that's about. And I know you do a Roth IRA and you do, what's the other one down there? The 401k. You've got those for your retirement funds. I get it. So you can do it a little bit of things a little different here. But I'm going to do it for Canadians. Because again, when I started this whole idea, it was for my children, it was for my daughters, it's really for them. But the mission, the statement, the intention with what we're doing here is all the same. It doesn't matter where you are. It's about focus. It's about where you direct your energy. It's about being dedicated to getting to where you want to go and maintaining it. Anyways, folks, That's me. Like I said, I've always said, check out whiskeycompass.ca. That's really doing well. I'm really excited. The app is kind of floundering a little bit because there's a lot of coding issues that I'm having. I am having a tough time with it. It is a little bit bit of a learning curve for me. But we'll have the app up and running hopefully really soon. Hopefully I'll have it done by May 1st. So I got 30 days to do it, but I also got a magazine to put out. I also got blogs to put out. I got a lot going on with Whiskey Compass. So, but I'd love you to check it out and tell me what you think. And also the magazine's free right now, so check it out. Also, if you're on YouTube, notifications, share, spread the word. We really like that. Check out financialfreeway23.ca. I will throw that Excel spreadsheet up when I get it done this weekend up onto the website financialfreeway23.ca, so you can check it out. You can play with it. You can put your own numbers in there. Free to all, because I want everyone to understand, and I want everyone to know, with the numbers as proof, you have the inalienable right to live a life of success, happiness, abundance, wherever you are in this beautiful spring day. God bless.